Hello everyone, this is Hassan. Welcome to the second part of the Whiteboard coding interview questions with solutions for software testing job interviews. So if you have watched the first part, you already know the next question, which is write a program that can create a multiplication table of a given number. So how do I do that? So let's use our paint. So let's say I want to find the multiplication table of number 5. So I already declared the variable, which is 5, and I want to multiply 1 to 10 to 5. So how do I do that? So let's declare another variable and let's call it multiply. Okay, so we haven't assigned any value yet, it's just a variable, just multiply. So now you'll have to multiply 5 times 1, 5 times 2, 5 times 3, 5 times 4. So that means I can use the for loop. So I can use for int I equal 1. I'm going to start multiplying with 1. And then I should be less than 11. And I have to increase I. And while this is happening, as you know, there are 3 statements. And the first 2 statements will be executed first. And then it will run the code I'm writing inside the code block, and then it's going to start increasing the I. So my plan is to use the variable multiply because I have to save the result somewhere. That's why I'm using this variable. So multiply should be equal to a times I. So that means in the first iteration, if you check, okay, int I equal 1, that means this I will be replaced with 1, and a times 1, it will be displaying, sorry, 5 times 1, it will be displaying 5. Now in the second iteration, now your I has been updated, so now I is equal to 2. So instead of int I equal 1, it will look at 2, and then again it will multiply a times 2 and will give me the result. So I want to display the result, so I'm gonna just use the printing statement. This inside of the block, so print what I want to print. I want to print the multiply. Okay, let's close the semicolon here. Okay, so that's my code. That's how it should work, but we have to add a few more things. But let's look at the code. So as I said, a variable, the number is 5, and then I have another variable multiply. Right now it's nothing, it's empty. So then I said for int I equal 1, because I have to multiply with I, then I should be less than 11, and then let's start increasing I. And inside this code block, I want to multiply a times I. Okay, so now if I print inside this code block, that means it's going to show me 5 times 1, 5 times 2, 5 times 3. If I do outside, then there will be a problem, because now you will not be getting this result I times a times I. You will only see the last result. Okay, so let's run this and see what happens. Oh, sorry, I forgot to print this. So system.out.print ln and multiply. Okay, so now you can see the multiplication table for 5, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Now there is a problem because I don't see 5 times 1 equal to 5 or 5 times 2 equal to 10 and so on. So to do that, you can use concatenation. So for example, you can use the plus operator to show the concatenation. So first of all, I want to print A. So let's do write A and put plus. And then I should use the times, which is this. Okay, and then concatenation again times so A times I, so I write I, and then another plus, and then I need another one, which is the equal sign. There is the equal sign, and let's keep the gap here, white space, and then put the plus. So now you can see you have A, which is 5, then it will be printing times I, which is 1 at the beginning, equal, multiply. So whatever the result, it'll be displayed. So now let's try this again. So now you can see 5 times 1, 5 times 2, 5 times 3, and so on. Okay, so that's how you can do this. Write a program that can create a multiplication table of a given number. Alright, so now let's look at the next question. So write a program to add the first 10 even numbers. So far we did one similar program which says, okay, add the first 10 natural numbers. So now this one is slightly changed. It just says you have to add the first 10 even numbers. Okay. Alright, to add the first 10 even numbers, let's say, what's the first even number? So that's int a equals, let's say that's 2. And then let's say there is another variable, let's say the sum. And initially, let's say this is 0, like the way we did a similar problem. So now I want to add the sum and a first. That's my first thing. So let's use the loop. So I can say I equal 0. Sorry, I should say int. And then I should be less than 10. Remember, it's 0 to 9, so that's 10 times already. And then let's increase I. Okay, so inside the block, what should I do? So obviously the first step is sum equal sum plus a. Okay, so here what's going to happen in the first iteration is that it's going to do 0 plus 2, because now the sum is sum was 0, 0 plus 2, so the sum becomes 2. So that's good, but now in the next iteration I need to make sure that my a is 4. But if you remember the last time, what we did was a plus plus. So if we do a plus plus, it means your a will be updated to 3. Okay, but I need 4, so maybe I can do this. I can do this one more time. Okay, this is one way, but this is not the best way to do this, but for simplification we're just showing you this. So as I said, so my a is now 2, the sum is 2, that's good enough. Now your a is going to be 3, but if you do a plus plus again, that means it's going to be 4, which is good because now that's what I need. So in the next iteration, the sum, you can see this was 2, and what's going to happen is your a is no longer 2, it will be 4. And remember, the sum is now updated, and now it's no longer 0, this is 2. Okay, so now what's going to happen is now it's going to add 4 and 2. Okay, so instead of a 2, it's gonna say, okay, now I'm gonna add 4, and the sum is now 2, and that will be 6. Okay, and it'll keep doing the same thing. Okay, so this is one way to do this, but this is not the best practice, so we'll try to update our codes, but let's first try with this approach. Okay, so let's erase this code from here. So int a equal 2, that's our first even number, and then the sum, initially you said this is 0, and then you're gonna say is for loop, and then say int I equal 0. You can start with 1, and then I has to be less than 10, and then I plus plus. Inside the loop, I gotta make sure I do sum equals sum plus a. Sorry, a. Okay, and then I have to do a plus plus, and then a plus plus again. Oops. Okay, so now it should work. So now we want to just make sure that the system works. So as you can see from here, we said that in the first iteration the result should be 2, the sum should be 2, the 0 plus 2, and in the next iteration it should be 2 plus 4, it has to be 6, right? So we just want to check if our code is working fine or not, so we're just going to do this 2 times. So we're going to do 0 to 2. Let's just see if this is working or not. We're just going to iterate twice. If it's when it's 0, it's going to do this once, and then it's going to do this one more time, and then I can actually print it inside the loop and outside the loop too. Just want to make sure this is working. System.out println, let's print sum. So that means it's going to print this twice. So first it should print 2, then it should print, forgot, 6. Yeah. So let's see if the result is 2 and 6, and then I am going to print the total outside the loop. Okay, so now let's see what happens. So now you can see it printed 2 in the first iteration, obviously it was 2, then again it did that, and now next time this is 6, and this is the total when we did it outside the loop, which is also 6. So now that means this is working. So now I'm gonna just change this to 10 so that it picks all the 10 even numbers. So let's run this now. So the result is 110. You can see this is 110 and this is 110. So that's how you can do this. But some people will not like this at why you're doing. So what happens if you want to add 1 and then 5 and then 9? Well, how you're going to do that? So you can do a plus plus like 5 times. That's not a good practice. So to deal with that, we can actually use a nested loop. So we just have to change this slightly. So sum equal sum plus a, that's good. But what we want to do is that we want to do another loop. So we're going to do int j equal so that's 1, and then j is less than 3 because I only want to update a 2 times. So that means I'm going to iterate only 2 times. And let's increase the j. Okay, and inside the loop, what I want to do, I'm going to say I plus plus. Okay, so now we can see the same thing is happening. Instead of writing a plus plus and a plus plus, a plus plus several times, I can just use another for loop. So now what's going to happen? This is kind of same thing that happened before. So sum equals sum plus a, that worked fine. and then I have to increase I 2 times. So now I am inside this loop. Once this is done, sum equals sum plus a. So it's gonna do 0 plus 2. The sum is now 2. Okay, so just write. If you don't understand, let's just write it. So now the sum is actually 2. Okay, now here when you are inside this loop, so your int j is equal 1 and j should be less than 3. That means you're going to iterate only 2 times. So first we're going to do a plus plus. So now, and the first iteration, your a will become, as you remember from here, that your a is 2 at this point, right? Now your a has been updated to 3, but remember this is iterating twice, so that means in the next round of iteration you're going to update it to 4. So now your a is actually 4. Now this for loop is done, so it's not going to go here again and it will start running because it did only one iteration. Inside this one iteration it did this for loop 2 times. Okay, so now if we do this, so remember the result is 110. So let's see if that worked. And you can see this is 110, the same result. So instead of writing a line several times, you can just use another for loop. This is called a nested loop. So that's how can you do that. And so for the next problem is very similar. It says that write a program to add the first 10 odd numbers. So nothing changes except the fact that we have to start with 1. So just change it to 1, and everything else is unchanged because still you have to iterate 10 times. Still you have to increase the number 1 2 times. So everything is unchanged. So let's just run this. And then you can see the result is 100. So that's it. That's how you can do these two problems. So we did write a program to add the first 10 even numbers, and we did write a program to add the first 10 odd numbers. Alright guys, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. And the next question that we have is write a program to find the minimum and max number from a given array. Okay, so we'll do that in the next video. Thanks for watching guys. I'll see you next time.